Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and we've got lovely, pretty bases to show you today. Isn't that exciting? Probably not. Well, actually, they are really nice bases. These bases come to us from the Lord of the Print, who had a really cool theme for one of their months on Patreon of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And these bases do not belong to the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. One of the cool things that Lord of the Print did was actually make a bunch of minions that went along with those 4 Lords of the Apocalypse. Now, I have printed one of the Lords, which actually is going to be on their Horsemen, not Lords. Anyway, so this belongs to one of them, and this is the Matriarch of Torment's base. And then I printed one of her minions for this one. And then this belongs to one of the Minions of War. So it's already quite a big base. We're going to get around to printing War as it is. I wanted to show off our Tormentor, a basic Tormentor first. This is one of the minions of the Matriarch. It is in pretty much one piece. And there are indentations on his base as to where he's supposed to go. And he is quite pointy and spindly. But he had absolutely no issues getting printed whatsoever. Always a big plus. I swear I'm going to snap off one of these spines. It felt like one cracked, but thankfully it didn't, I guess. Those guys look to be about on 50s. This looks to be about a 60. You can see upside down the fancy logo there. Obviously I want to have them hollowed out. And the reason you don't see the Matriarch yet is because, oh my goodness, I am so excited to do this, but she is a multi-part mess of madness, and I absolutely look forward to putting her together. And I mean that wholeheartedly. She is quite a few pieces here. Here we have the head of the previous Tormentor we showed off, all smashed to pieces. I think it'll be easier to see once we've got everything put together. I have no idea what goes where on this lady. Really long legs. Her legs are almost as tall as the actual minion, so that's kind of cool. Got some wings, got spikes, got claws, got fingers, got a crazy fat tail. So that's all of the Matriarch of Torment. I believe that's what she was called. Pretty sure she's called that. But then there is our Minion of War. And this is a big clunker of a fella. First of all, we have to show off his weapon here. Absolutely huge. Bigger than an Avatara from Conquest, and they're already big dudes. Really large legs. Nicely cloven hoofed. Big stocky chest. Now, the chest, interestingly enough, you can have the option of printing him with or without wings. I figure I always do big winged demons. Why not take a break and do something different? We have a nice long tail for him here, and then we have a fairly large and bulky hand, along with the other arm for the sword to be pointing with. And then finally, before I break something, you can get a good look at his head. Very demonic, yes. So this is actually one of 2 options for the head. This is the quote-unquote armored head. There is a regular unarmored head as well. You can see his face there. He's got little eye covers blocking out the sunlight there. Doesn't want those bad UV rays. So, give me a sec. We're going to get everybody all put together here. We'll show off how they turn out. And maybe one of these days I'm going to finish printing War. Well, obviously, which I want is a gigantic T-Rex monstrosity lizard with a big Chaos Barbarian type dude riding on top of it. Why wouldn't it be, right? I mean, come on. So, let me get these guys put together and we'll see how they turn out. Okay, we got our, I was going to say demons, but technically minions of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We'll start off with the Disciple of War, since he's quite large and big. And I gotta say, I dig it, especially without the wings. Usually I'm one to put those wings on there, but I like him without it, surprisingly. It's something different, and I dig that. And if I can just get him to figure out where he wants to be on that base, that would be even better. He was really straightforward. Obviously, the pieces fit pretty nicely. No real issues there. Obviously, if I'd wanted to do a little bit better job of sanding and gluing, I'm sure that that's quite easily done. I'm not a big stickler for that. Brighten it up a little bit so you guys can see it better. You could probably even get away with not mounting him on that base. You can see he's pretty stable without it. I'm just going to set him there for the moment. And then grabbing our Tormentor, we have our basic one right here. And I like the style. It really does kind of remind me of the kind of Skull Taker proxy inspired model that Creature Caster did a while back, especially with the hunched over look. But obviously the actual execution of the model is quite different. I'm not going to bother grabbing a bunch of random chaos monsters, but you know what I think I should do instead is get some human-sized figures to give you guys a good idea of what you're expecting. So with a typical Marine, I think that's usually a good size indicator, along with a Primaris model. Let's grab a Stormcast. And do I have any WizKids humans? Where is my Witcher type figure? With a Reaper model, I guess. So you can see they're pretty big models. I like that. But I think demons and monsters of this caliber really should be bigger than the typical human. We want them to be impressive, majestic, showing off. There's our Witch Hunter friend. Well, I'm still looking for the Witcher. I don't know where I put the dude. But more importantly than the basic one, let's get the upgraded boss one. I really liked how this model turned out. It is quite the spiky, pokey, protruding model. And there's some really fine details here that I don't know how well they're coming out, especially like in the facial features on video. But in person, there are really fine lines. And I think if I had upgraded to one of those 4K, 6K, 8K screens, especially with the higher quality resin, I think that I would get some really cool results with that. Sadly, I really dig the water washable resins, and I haven't seen those in the higher resolutions yet. So I'm still kind of holding off on pulling the trigger there, unless they just want to offer a really good deal or just send me the stuff. In that case, sure, why not? Yeah, I'll happily take advantage of it. But you can see here, there's a good size difference between the regular and the boss one. And the cool thing is I try to attempt to get her to stand up, I don't know what gender this is, if it's even gendered. I mean, that is another nice thing there. If you don't dig the overt sexual nature of Slaneshi type models, or if you want something that's just a bit more nondescript, I think these are really good options. And, I mean, there's going to be a ton of various poses as well. While the War Disciples are a little bit more limited, keep in mind that there's also 2 other minions of the Apocalypse that we haven't even bothered with yet. War, still waiting to see some of the main models, pre-supports fixed up for Cheetah Box, at least as of filming this. I'll have to go double check and re-download the model and see. Famine is just going to be way too big and bulky at the moment, but there is a good chance we will get him on here. But at least our Tormentor came out nice and impressive. So, cool looking models, as always, from the Lord of the Print. We'll put a link down below if you guys haven't had a chance to check their stuff out. I absolutely wholeheartedly recommend it. They're one of those ones that I back quite regularly myself, just because there's always going to be some cool models there. And absolutely, with this release, there certainly were. So, with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!